So we say like, oh, look at black households compared to Asian households, okay? That doesn't mean that black people are poor. There are many, many wealthy black people, and there are many poor Asians, and there are many rich Hispanics and poor Hispanics, many poor white people. Okay, so you gotta hold that. Like, it's really important as we have this conversation to remember that, okay? The mean is we add up all the wealth and we divide by the number of households, okay? And that's spread out. The median is we take those households and we rank them from the wealthiest households to the poorest households, and we grab the one right in the center. Mm-hmm. And so so what's right in the center is the median. Okay, the mean family wealth is much higher, because what that does is, because here in the U.S. we've got billionaires and billionaires and billionaires, and they really skew that number. How about Asians? Does that strike you that number is so high? Like, are the Asians in your area or what you've known or people you've met, does that strike you as? Because this is what this is about, right? Like, in the end, when we see numbers like this, you got it. What we're fighting about here, all of these battles that we have, and when you compare, like MSNBC to Fox News to CNN to whatever it is, and people are talking about inequality, they're fighting over these numbers like that. Okay, and so what explains these differences? As far as you know, as far as you see. Take a look at these numbers. This is wealth. Can one of you just say what wealth is?
Health is wealth.
No, all right, hang on. All right, I'll help you out. Well, that's true, especially when you get to my age, man. Okay, so look, if you add up all of your resources, and including kind of your major hard resources, a lot of times we can include our cars, or if we have an RV or something that's kind of a major purchase. But it could be, the value of paintings we have, or really expensive jewelry, but generally we're not into things for small amounts of money, okay? We add all that up. And if we have a house and we have a mortgage on the house, and we have, we've paid off $100,000, but the bank owns our house is $400,000. That's the value, and the bank owns $300,000 of that, and we own $100,000 of that. We don't own a $400,000 house. We co-own that house with the bank, so only $100,000 of that would get included in our wealth. Okay, so you add up all your wealth, everything you have, you subtract your debt. Okay, that's your net wealth. So when we talk about median family wealth here, we take all the wealth in the United States, okay, every bit of it, and we add it all up to the trillions of dollars, and we divide by the number of households. And we say, okay, that's the total wealth in the United States. But then we start dividing those households up, we group them together. So we have the white households, the Asian households, and, usually in the U.S. we just put together East Asian and South Asian, so, multi-ethnic, Hispanic, Black, Native American, okay? And by the way, what that Native American is, it's really hard to assess wealth for American Indians, because you have people who live on the res, people who live off the res, people who identify as Native American, including people in this class, who it's like, but are you Native? Like, what do you really need to, are you Native according to tribes? Do the tribal councils count you as Native? So if you were to say, yeah, I'm like 50% Chippewa or Algonquin, it's like, well, does the Algonquin tribe accept that, or are you just saying that? And so it's really tough to get a measure of that. But at least on the res, Native Americans earn 8 cents to the dollar of white households. Okay? So you can imagine American Indians are on the bottom. All right? I can't give it a number, though. All right. That's wealth. And also, the other thing I want to say as we have this conversation today, it's really important that all of us remember that even though we're putting numbers up like this, so we say like, oh, look at black households compared to Asian households, okay? That doesn't mean that black people are poor. There are many, many wealthy black people, and there are many poor Asians, and there are many rich Hispanics and poor Hispanics, many poor white people. Okay, so you got to hold that. Like, it's really important as we have this conversation to remember that, okay? All right, man. So here's my first question. How do you make sense of these numbers? When you see those numbers, how do you make sense of it? Like, what's it mean to you? Let's just have a conversation.
These numbers are according like some statistics that's also because also because it's just normal. The US is a country that was like found by other countries, like other people from other countries came to the US, and most of all were white people from the Europe, and then the other races like Asian arrived and other races arrived, and they start working and everything. And since the beginning, the white people are like the ones that have most money, most possibilities to buy things and everything. But that doesn't matter, like, because like you said, there is people that can be white and have a lot of money, but other people that are poor.
So we're Portuguese. You're Portuguese.
Yeah.
So you lived in Portugal until you were, what, 17?
Yeah, I lived in Portugal until 17. Then 2 years ago, I came here to the US to study.
And where are the Portuguese on this? Like, you all would... Yeah, where's Portugal on this? In terms of wealth.
I would say between white and multi-ethnic.
Yeah. If the average Portuguese American household.
It's not that much, like, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here, like, because...
Hang on, we're going to go to that.
But the minimum wage is not that good.
Yeah. Somebody else, how do you look at these numbers? Just tell a story about these numbers, any story.
Personally, I think, crunching these numbers, I see Asians, like, their median family wealth is a lot, but that can be depending on many factors, especially Asia is a big continent.
Hey, by the way, okay, hang on. I need to say one thing. There's a difference between median and mean, okay? Yeah. Median means we add up all the wealth. So I actually said it wrong last time because what I gave you was the mean. The mean is we add up all the wealth and we divide by the number of households, okay? And that's spread out. The median is we take those households and we rank them from the wealthiest households to the poorest households, and we grab the one right in the center. And so so what's right in the center is the median, okay? The mean family wealth is much higher, because what that does is, because here in the US we've got billionaires and billionaires and billionaires, and they really skew that number. But the median number, it comes down, you see, so it's this is the median number. All right, so go ahead. Like, how do you explain that?
Explain like why Asians are like, their median family wealth is a lot.
Yeah, like, but not just Asians, but everybody. When you look at that, right? So here's the thing. People see these kinds of numbers all the time, and we're expected to make sense of these numbers. And we look at them and say like, oh, okay, it means something, right? But nobody ever tells us what it means. So we're going to have the conversation today about, well, we could write 20 books on this. Hundreds and hundreds of books have been written on things like this just in the past year. But we're just going to give it a shot. So where do you dive in? Like, what stands out in these numbers?
the fact that American Indian are not stated actually, because a lot of American Indians actually depends the people who actually settled here, born here, right? They might technically go in and out of the pool of Asians.
Okay. So
Yeah,
they're
so-
the original inhabitants of this land.
Right.
What do you make of the black number being almost 1/10 of the white number? What do you have there? What, as a white person, right? What story have you learned? Let's say.
I don't know if it's just because of the area I'm from, but I think I'm a little bit surprised that it is that low.
So say more about that.
In general, in my area, everybody is kind of like, to my knowledge, most people are middle class, no matter what their race is. So that number, I just thought it might be higher than
Okay,
that.
so that stands out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that, given what you've seen.
Correct.
What you see
yeah.
around you. Okay, that's cool. How about Asians? Does that strike you that number is so high? Like, are the Asians in your area, or what you've known, or people you've met? Does that strike you as?
I don't think I really have an opinion on that one, just because there aren't many Asian people from my hometown.
Okay, all right. So that's a surprise too. In that case, right? I mean, that's new information for you. Okay. Laura, how about you?
Honestly, the numbers don't really surprise me.
How's that?
The only thing that surprises me personally is for Hispanics, because I know what my family makes in their income, and it's nowhere near that. So everything else pretty solid.
So what story do you tell yourself about then, like those numbers? Like when you see them, I'm asking, you're like, okay, well, say something about them. What would you say?
That in my town, a lot of people make those numbers when you look at the race and know them. They do make that type of income depending on the race.
So you see Asians as being particularly
More wealthy, yeah.
more wealthy in their households, and white people,
Yeah.
and black and Hispanic people are
More lower.
more lower. And
Yeah.
what story do you tell yourself on that?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you say about that? Oh, God.
I say it's unfortunate that with Hispanics and blacks we're still not progressing as much as we should be.
Progressing as much as you should be. Okay. Yeah, I think and what would you say, Ella, can I ask you, what explains the differences in the numbers? Because this is what this is about, right? In the end, when we see numbers like this, you got it. What we're fighting about here, all of these battles that we have, and when you compare, MSNBC to Fox News to CNN to whatever it is, and people are talking about inequality, they're fighting over these numbers like that. Okay? And so, what explains these differences? As far as you know, as far as you see.
There's probably more than one reason behind those numbers. I think raises and salary probably have to do with it. It could be people who are coming here from other countries might not come over with much, which could contribute to where the median lands.
Okay. Or some don't come over with much, but other people come over with a lot.
Yeah.